Sounds good.
Yeah, man. But you're from Rialto, right?
I am from Real, so yeah, you did your homework. Good job.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, I go in deep
Nice.
on these interviews. Yeah. So what kind of stuff were you getting into as a kid for fun over there?
In Rialto, I played sports. Rialto, for those listeners that don't know, is a suburb of Los Angeles, about 60 miles east. And it's kind of deserty. Um, and when I was a kid, I did sports. I played like soccer through middle school, high school. And when I was in high school, I started playing music, started playing guitar and playing in bands. And that kind of like segued out of me playing sports into playing musical instruments. So that's all there really was to do around there, was just make noise in my garage. My parents, bless their hearts, were always really supportive, even though they didn't really understand what I was doing musically. Like the style of music I played and listened to was just like a different planet for them. They would still let me have band practices in my garage, and my bands would play there and be very, very loud. And even the neighbors were awesome. They never called the cops on us. And that's pretty much what I did for fun, and just practice as much as I could and just try to get better at being a musician. Yeah, that's what I was getting caught up in. And so those were my like formative years, as they say.
Yeah, awesome, man. It's really good. Did you go to college?
I did. I went to UC Riverside. I got a bachelor's degree in history, U.S. history, 20th century history, and then actually got a master's degree in urban planning at Cal Poly Pomona.
Wow, big stuff.
Yeah. So it's funny. We do like interviews, or I don't know. There's just, I guess, this like idea that musicians don't go to college, or don't have like a post baccalaureate degree. And me and Bardo, the singer in Chicano Batman, we both have master's degrees. Eduardo has a bachelor's degree, so we're educated. And I think that really helped us. Like, it really helped us in the music industry as independent artists. We were able to kind of make decisions that were rooted in like just our knowledge and ability to critically think. And it definitely helped with like problem solving and just figuring out our way and being as DIY as we could be, until we kind of hit like a wall where we needed that extra support. We signed with ATO Records, and now they've been taking care of a lot of the stuff we used to do in-house.
It's awesome, man. Yeah, it's really good that you have somebody that you trust and is setting you in the right direction. That's great.
Definitely.
Yeah. What kind of jobs did you have prior to just doing music?
So I worked in I was like they used to have in Rialto substitute librarians, which was like a really chill job, because people don't think about it, but like the librarian calls out sick at an elementary school or middle school. And then once you get to middle school and high school, there's like a head librarian, and there's like multiple like techs under him. And they're there to make the day go flawless for the students. They don't realize there's like a substitute librarian. They're just checking out their books. They need help with some research. And I had a friend whose dad was like the head librarian of like the school district, a Rialto Unified School District. So she was able to like get us all, me and a couple other friends, jobs like subbing in the libraries, and it paid really well for being like 18 right out of high school while I was going to college. And it was cool. It was really, really a very chill job, and I had a good time doing it. And what I liked about it was it was flexible. So as I had like shows, it wasn't a big deal. Like if I didn't want to take work, like say on a Wednesday after a Tuesday night show in LA or what have you. So I did that for a while. And then after I got my college degree, I started substitute teaching. And that was like a whole other ordeal. Way more stressful. The kids hate you. They're there to like give you a hard time, and you're just trying to be there and just make sure things go smooth and you don't get in trouble from like the teacher or administration, like, oh, that sub didn't do their job right or something, or that sub is letting the kids get too out of hand. But I think I did a pretty good job of just trying to like have the kids just know, like, I'm not here to play around, but I'm not here to be like too difficult either. I'm just here to like have you guys do your assignment, and let's be cool with each other. And so that's what I did for several years. And like I said, that was because um, being in a band, we would tour, play shows, and it was kind of hard to have like a straight 9 to 5. And that job had flexibility because if you didn't want to take work, you just didn't accept work for the day, and there was no penalty. It was just like, all right, this substitute is unavailable on Thursday this week. And so I would know ahead of time, I'll have a show in the week, I'm going to miss the day after because I'm going to get home at 4 a.m. And yeah, I did that, and it's what we did for a while until we started getting noticed at the schools. We had to like stop the job.
What do you recall the first time that a kid was like, "Yo, Chicano Batman, what's up, man?"
Yeah, I was subbing at Baldwin Park Unified School District when I was living in LA already. And this was like 2014. And just some kid, I just saw kids come in and they like side-eyed me and started chattering amongst themselves when I heard like Chicano Batman something. And it made me very uncomfortable because I was like, oh no, like I don't want them to you're the adult, right? You're the adult, and I want to be the cool adult, but I still got to be an adult, and there's still like criteria I have to meet for my job to be professional. And you want to be cool with the kids, but it's not really your place to be like chummy with the kids as a substitute, so it became kind of hard, like just being able to like be effective and be taken kind of seriously by these kids, because they're just like, what the heck, this is the guitar player. So that happened a couple times, and soon after that I was like, all right, I gotta get out of this. And luckily the band's gig was like picking up in a way that we were able to actually make income off of it that was comparable to what we were doing subbing. So it came at a good time. Like, I mean, the band was on the rise and some of the kids were noticing, and then we just didn't have to go back to subbing. I was the last one to hold out. The other guys also subbed because I think I might have been the one to tell them about it. They were subbing in Los Angeles, and they quit like a year before me, but I just wasn't 100% sure the band was going to be something that was going to be successful enough to have like income to pay rent. So I kept it as like a, safety blanket, but it became clear it was going to be something. So I thankfully was able to segue out of that job. And a lot of respect to all the educators out there. It's a hard job, and they're doing really important work that I feel doesn't get the respect it deserves. And I definitely have a lot of respect for all of those teachers out there.
Definitely. When was there a point specifically that you're like, okay, I can, like, it's set in stone that I'm good to go, I don't have to be subbing or doing anything else anymore? Do you remember that moment?
The moment wasn't like, all right, I got a fat check from this gig, so I'm good. It was just kind of like I just jumped into the deep end, man. I was like, all right, I got a cannonball into this swimming pool and sink or swim, and that's it. I just quit the job, and I was like, all right, I got to make this be a feasible job that's not just a hobby and a passion, but that's something that's going to really generate income. And I think it actually just, like they say, what does the saying go? I forget it. But anyways, I just basically was like, I got to hustle harder, work twice as hard. And I did. I really became really involved with what the band was doing in terms of the behind the scenes, not just playing shows and having fun, and meeting other bands. And just, it became more than that. It became like, all right, let's book a tour. All right, I got to call this promoter. Okay, how do I get that promoter's number? Because we don't have a booking agent yet. Okay, so-and-so knows him. Maybe he can refer us, or she can refer us. All right, we need print merch. Let's find a guy that, prints shirts in Long Beach. And then me and Eduardo will go downtown and buy the shirts at the garment district. It was just a hustle. We just did it ourselves. And, it kept overhead low and was able to generate the band income really early on.
Yeah, I respect that, man. That's awesome, dude. Yeah.
Thank you.
You gotta be out there doing those things. That's awesome, man. I mean, so to walk me through like how the shows were prior to gaining a lot of notoriety. in the early days? How is it different from then to now?
So I'm trying to think. The band would play like local street festivals in and around LA. Bardo and Eduardo were pretty well connected, like in the music scene. And they would just get us on shows, like kind of cultural shows, because we were like the Latino group, so we were able to be like malleable in that regard, but also play like the Echo every now and then. So I think in the beginning, a lot of the stuff we were playing, a lot of the shows we were playing were like on the east side off of First Street in Boyle Heights. We would play this place called the NPR. We'd play East Side Love, places like that. And every now and then we get like a show at, like I said, like at the Echo or Silver Lake. What is it called? I went out of business. The longtime place on Silver Lake, the Satellite. We play gigs like that, like a band that was more popular than us would like know about us and request us to open, and we would just play places like that. The Smell, we played the Smell. I would say the turning point for us would be, I can't forget, we played La Cita. We kind of helped like create a scene at that bar in downtown Los Angeles, and then it kind of became like a thing that snowballed into a lot of like Latinx groups would play there and have an ability to create like an audience and create like a platform for them to express themselves musically and like culturally. And that became like a cool little thing that we had. And a lot of that was basically because it was really hard for like Latino groups to get gigs like in the indie rock scene that was like really hip and cool, and in parts of Silver Lake and Echo Park and the West Side. I just think people kind of just didn't get it, like what we were doing, and but I think eventually, I know eventually that caught on, and now it's like it's way more integrated, and there's way more like overlap, and I think it's for the best. And I think you started seeing that at festivals like Beach Goth, which essentially became Tropicalia, the festival, which is just like a mix of all these genres. Yeah, Mac DeMarco playing with Chicano Batman, playing with Kali Uchis. That's the way music should be to me. I think that's really interesting for audiences, and yeah, that's pretty much how it started. But like, sorry, I digress. I would say our big break was we got a tour with Jack White, and we got Coachella, a friend, Natalia Linares, who's an East Coast gal. She got Paul Tollett's email somehow, and she like pitched us, and he liked what he heard and saw how whatever she did an amazing job, and we got booked for Coachella, and that was in 2015, and that was right around thankfully right before our tour with Jack White. So we had like a winter tour in February with Jack White, and then like a month off, and then we played Coachella. And so we started getting like attention because you didn't see bands like us opening for bands like Jack White, and it got like press, and it really kind of raised our profile. And after that, it was just like no looking back. It was just more gigs that led to us getting a manager, another manager from a bigger company, led us to a booking agent. And so, yeah, actually, our old manager helped us get a booking agent from the Windish industry, which became Paradigm. And things, we ended up parting ways with our original manager. He's like a great guy, but things didn't work out. And then our new booking agent was able to help us get like a manager from Red Light Management, which has bands like The Strokes and Radiohead. And so that definitely helps, because once you have those connections, doors really open for you where they might have been closed before. People just start taking you a little more seriously. So
definitely, yeah. Man, that's crazy. How was the tour with Jack White? Is he a nice guy?
He is a nice guy. He's really like intense. Like his stage persona is like very intense, but he's like really, really chill. And it was a lot of fun. It was just, I grew up loving the White Stripes. Their Elephant and White Blood Cells were just like always on heavy rotation for me. As a guitar player, I just loved his sound and what he was doing. I thought it was really fresh. taking like, you know, the old school like garage rock thing, but like bringing it with like some kind of modern twist. And it was great seeing him perform every night. And Owens had who had is a Long Beach native who passed away on Jack's previous tour. His spirit was always around, and he was a fan of Chicano Batman, would come to our gigs. So it felt like there was like some kind of connection already, like before we even set foot like on the tour. And it was good. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I bet, man. Yeah, that is really cool. That's a huge thing, you know. I mean, obviously, you know, I'm just kind of saying that for myself, you know.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I got to ask you this. How tiny is NPR's tiny desk? How tiny is that desk?
It's really tiny. It's probably, I'd say like maybe 5 feet by 7 feet, something like that.
It's pretty tiny.
Like, it's small, and you're cramped in there, and you're trying to just look cool and sound cool.
It looked and sounded cool, man, from my eyes, from my point of view.
Thank you. Yeah, it's much smaller than it looks on TV. Like on the when you go on YouTube, it looks like comfortable, or it might look small, but it's even smaller than what you're perceiving, and it's crazy. Yeah, and you have to play really, really quiet because you're sharing like one microphone. They don't mic. They mic the instruments, like a couple of them, but they try to just do minimal miking, and you basically have to like mix yourself. You have to play with dynamics. You can't just play full loud and have like a sound guy control it and make it sound good for everybody. You're playing to like one microphone essentially, and you can't be louder than the singer. So we were playing like extremely low volume, and as a musician who likes to play loud, it was really difficult, like trying to feel it and be passionate when you're playing like whisper, you know, riffs.
Where did the idea of dressing up for performances come about? When did that happen?
So Eduardo came up with that idea, and I think that whole idea was just like paying homage to like these funky Latin American soul groups, like that were from the early 70s. They essentially were taking like James Brown music and the Beatles and just like twisting it into like their own like cultural reality. So super funky, big fat bass lines and drum breaks and guitars with the hits on the 2 and 4. And that was kind of the aesthetic we were mining in the early days. And so thinking of that, and also you see bands like Parliament Funkadelic where they have this pageantry when they come on stage. It's a party, like you're gonna have a good time, you're gonna dress up. That's what we were trying to do. And I think yeah, it was just it was fun. Eduardo, I think he went to like a thrift store and found like the shirts and was like, hey, I found these, let's wear these. And the group was into it at the time, so we did it.
Yeah, it looks good, man. You guys look clean. Every time I've seen you guys, it looks proper, you know.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you guys go on tour, how many shirts are you bringing with you?
So we actually just before COVID hit, we actually retired the suits, so we're not wearing them anymore. So when it comes back, you'll probably be just seeing us wear whatever we want to wear. But at the time when we were on tour, I think we had 2 suits, and that was it. We would rotate it, and some of us did a better job of keeping them clean than others. Some guys might go the whole tour without putting them in the washing machine. I wasn't one of those guys, you know, so I would wash my shirt, at least my shirt, like at the hotel room if we didn't have much time to like have a laundry day. But for the most part, you're looking at 2 suits and maybe 2 shirts that were like interchangeable. That was it.
It's good. You got to be able to rotate it for sure. There has to be duplicates. Yeah. I can only imagine because you know it gets hot up there. I'm assuming, and when you're playing, yeah, and the sweat's coming down. Do you guys ever dry clean them or just straight up in the washer, dryer, boom?
Yeah, you're supposed to dry clean them, and we hardly ever did that. And if you watch like footage or see photos, you'll see like the suits getting more crinkly and creased and like shrinking and fading. And you know, at the end of the day, it's rock and roll, and like we're not like taking the time to like go to the dry cleaners, you know. Unfortunately, and we should have, but I think you know, it just is what it is. Like we're just dudes up there trying to like play some music, and sometimes like, you know, getting our suits clean was the last of our priorities. Unfortunately for the backup singers, I feel so bad for them, because we had like a stinky like Sprinter van with like our suits like hanging, like, because we have to you know, hang them like in the Sprinter so they dry from the night before. And it's just like, if it's summer, oh man.
What was one of the oddest places or shows you've played?
Oddest. We played this festival in Irwindale. Like, it was like a cultural event in Irwindale, and we had just played I think it was the rickshaw something in San Francisco. And on the way down,
The rickshaw stop, right? Maybe
rickshaw stop. There you go. Yeah. And so we played like the rickshaw stop like on a Wednesday, and then we were supposed to play the Echo on a Friday. And we had like a radius clause with the Echoes. We weren't allowed to have another show in Southern California. So we had this show. We got hired to play this event at Irwindale, like this cultural event. And we were like, all right, it has a built-in crowd. We just won't promote it so we can get paid, you know? So we didn't promote it at all. And so we came down from San Francisco, made like, you know, like the 6-7 hour drive with all the stops, with as many people as there are in our crew. And this is DIY time, you know, this is before we had like a Sprinter. We're in a broken down Astro van, I think. And we get to play Irwindale, and it's just straight up like, you know, it's like people that are my parents' age, like 60-year-old and up is like the audience. And they're usually there to see like a classical salsa group, or like a oldies like tribute band that's gonna play nothing but like Santana, War, and like Malo, like all these Chicano soldies music, you know. And here we come, and I think our drummer got the gig, which is funny. He doesn't get as many gigs, but he got us that gig. And we had to bring our own sound system to like get paid, like so we were trying to milk the payday as much as possible. They were like, we can hire a sound guy, but it's gonna like take off half your guarantee, or you can provide sound yourself. And we're like, oh, we provide sound ourselves. We've done this before. We rented some like huge sound system from this guy, and we didn't know how to work it. So we showed up, and like the tweeter was blown, and like the microphone sounded like someone was talking through like an intercom. The singing was, you know, it was terrible. And this lady came up to it. We just played our set. We were supposed to play like 2 hours. We played our set. In the middle of the set, there's like a break. And this lady, like my mom's age, came up. She's like, you guys are terrible. She's like, how come can't you guys play something like better, like some like oldies or some like Santana or some cover music? We're here to dance. We're not here to listen to whatever you're playing. Like, this is awful. This is the worst show we've ever had here. And she like just straight up like soul crushed us. And we were just like, I don't know what to tell you, you know. They booked us. So sorry. So we played our show. We're playing like Magma and like this psychedelic like soul music and rock music. And yeah, the show just was like, you know, it was terrible. And then it's so funny because we have this lady telling us how awful we were. And then we're playing like the sold out Echo the next day with all like our great fans. And it was like a huge dichotomy within 24 hours.
You should have invited her, be like, okay, I know you don't understand it now, but bear with us.
I know. So that was a hard gig. Yeah.
Have you ever taken a step back while like playing a show or seeing a show or talking to somebody, and you're like, wow, like this is a really special moment? Have you ever had that experience?
Like a Chicano Batman show, or like a show I've just watched, like any band?
Either or, both. If you have a answer for both.
I would say like a really special moment is we played the Fox Theater in Oakland, which is like 3,000 seats. I think that was the biggest play we ever did, and we sold that out. We were playing with Krungbin. Krungbin was still on the come up at the time. They were opening for us, and I mean, they just, you know, they're a huge band now. They're amazing, and they deserve all the, you know, accolades and recognition they get. They've just been working so hard. But we were playing we did a tour with them, and we would play last every night. And yeah, we sold out with them the Fox Theater in Oakland, and it's just massive. Just the sound just reverberates so far. And it was just a good show, because you play these huge shows And there's always nerves, no matter who you are, how you try to play it off. There's always nerves because you want to play well and you want to have a good time. And a lot of times for us, like if there's like a big show and there's like a lot of hype on it, there's always going to be something that just doesn't go right. It's just part of the gig. And, it's always just like, we almost had a perfect show, That show was like, all right, it's like heavyweight bout, like you're coming to throw it down and it needs to be perfect, a perfect gig. And it was. We played amazing. The sound was amazing. The audience was amazing. It was one of the most magical nights playing live music I've ever had. And really proud of that moment for sure.
Yeah, I would be too. Yeah, it sounds awesome, man.
We played, it's so funny because we had played, this was during the Freedom is Free tour. This was like the second leg of that tour where we were coming around playing the same markets at the end of the year. The beginning of the year, we played the Fillmore, which was one of those gigs. It's legendary. We sold out the Fillmore and there's all this hype. And we were having so many sound issues. Like we were having like feedback and it was just really messing up like the vibe. And we trudged through it. And I don't think very many fans noticed, but it was really hard to perform when like you have your monitors squealing back at you and you're just trying to like hear notes, So it was like a night and day experience in terms of like coming back to San Francisco and like really playing the show you wanted to deliver the first time.
Yeah. I remember seeing this commercial, the Johnnie Walker commercial. I want to say like maybe during the Grammys or something like that. My mom was watching and I was like, shit, that's fucking Chicano Batman right there. How did that come about, man?
How did that come about? I think they just approached us. They saw what we were doing. This was when Trump was running and he was like just scapegoating immigrants and Latinos and calling Mexican rapists, as we all know, he was saying. I think they wanted to just kind of make a stand and just say like, hey, like, we're for inclusivity and, we're for, diversity. And we like what Chicano Batman represents. And we think it'd be great to partner with you guys for our Keep Walking campaign, which the whole idea is just progress, keep walking, keep the momentum, go forward, don't go back. Don't go backwards, go forward. And so they approached us and they were great partners to have. We had a great time working with them. They would always give us amazing treatment. We'd have to fly to New York and do like press for them and do like content. And they're amazing. I just saw Brittany Howard is working with them now. I saw her Grammy commercials. It was amazing. They're a great brand to partner with.
Yeah, Johnnie Walker. Trying to get him as a sponsor. So yeah, Johnnie Walker, great. Blue, green, red, black, whatever label. It's amazing. It's good stuff. How much free stuff did you get from that? I want to know.
Oh man, they would hook it up. They'd give me like a case like every quarter or something.
That's awesome.
I would spread the love and give it to friends and family, and everyone would love Johnnie Walker. They also catered my wedding, which was like incredible.
No fucking way. Wow.
It was amazing. Yeah. I mean, like I said, they're an amazing brand to partner with. They're there to make you feel good and to help you out. And it was incredible. All my family and friends were just like, this is the best wedding ever. Free Johnnie Walker. Free Johnnie Walker, yes.
Free Johnnie Walker because Johnnie Walker supports people. That's right, right?
Exactly.
No, that's awesome. Did you reach out to them to cater the wedding, or were they just like, hey?
I did reach out to them because they were always adamant. Like, if you need anything, please email us, call us. We're here. Let us know what you need. And
you called them on it.
Yeah, I came in and I was like, hey, I'm having a wedding. I just want to know, it's like, can I get like some kind of like bulk discount? I'm gonna buy like in bulk. And they're like, we got you. Don't worry about it. And I was like, wow, that was a huge gift for sure. Weddings are expensive, man.
Yeah, definitely. Oh man, that's crazy. What's your drink of choice if you're putting in a drink? If you're pouring a drink,
well,
rather.
Let me see. What did I liked, what do I like? I would like, man, I don't know. I like beer. I'm a beer guy. I was a beer guy. I'm a beer guy. Yeah, any kind of draft beer was pretty good for me.
What about those IPAs? That
It's
business.
too heavy for me. I like those when I in my younger days. I would drink those, and they were good, but man, just like the aftermath was not good for me. I think I have like a wheat intolerance or something, so I don't really partake anymore. But when I did, it was always like I'd go to a place like in Highland Park, Greyhound Bar, and they would always have like really dope beers on tap, and I would just try different stuff. And there's so many like amazing beer now, with all the breweries, and it's crazy.
Yeah, my brother always gets these gross IPAs, and I say, I don't like these, So stop getting them, Zach. I'm hoping that he's listening to this and he'll just be like, okay, I gotta stop getting these because it's really screwing up the refrigerator. I like Coors Light. There's never any Coors Light in there because it's all stacked up with all his IPAs.
Yeah, yeah, they're heavy. They're heavy drinks. It's like eating
it's a
a full
problem.
meal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a problem, Zach. I'm telling you. Anyways, thank you for backing me up on that because you'll
No
be like,
problem.
all right. No, but yeah. Have you ever played drunk? Just totally out there?
I have not. Like I've never been able to like drink or do anything before a show. Like I have to get in the zone and just be able to focus. I know there's people that are able to do it, and it's a skill. I can't do that. I would mess up and just lose my concentration. So I would always just come in and just, if anything, there's no drinking happening before our shows. It's more like push-ups and like sit-ups happening and jumping jacks. That's happening more than ever now lately.
Cardio is key. I understand. Yeah.
Exactly.
So how long did it take to film that Johnnie Walker commercial?
I took a day. We like had like a 6 a.m. call time, and we were there till like 8 p.m. Yeah, it was a long day. It was a long day. Yeah, it was 2 days shoot actually, because we filmed some of it at the studio at the compound in Signal Hill, where we recorded the song that we wrote for the ad campaign, and then the next day we did like the all day street shoot. So it was like 14-hour days.
Not much, right?
Not much,
Super easy.
Yeah. I mean, it's the hours were long, but it went by fast.
Definitely. Do you feel like your techniques that you're using while recording an album has changed from the self-titled album to Invisible People?
Yes, definitely. The first album I think was recorded. I wasn't on the first album. That was a trio before I joined, but they recorded that I think in like one of the guys' bedrooms, and it was like straight to like one of like the first Pro Tools like rigs, very slow and like just cumbersome. And I don't even think like preamps were used. I don't know if you know too much about recording equipment, but there's all these things, or anyone that's listening out there, you need like a preamp and a compressor to make like a professionally sounding record. Ideally, that's what you hear when you hear like this quality that professional records have. And I don't think we used any of that. It was like just like whatever was built into Pro Tools and went with it on that record, from what I've been told. And then Cycles, and then Joven Navegante was like the EP we recorded after that. I think we were getting a little more hip to it. Eduardo was engineering and producing those first two, and he recorded that I think on Pro Tools, and started messing with plugins and preamps and just getting the sounds better, and Cycles of Existential Rhyme, we went to a recording school in Alhambra, and this recording engineer professor like engineered the session for us, and he was Eduardo's friend, and he brought like a rack full of preamps and outboard hardware, compressors, and that really like helped us bring our sonics up a notch, we felt. And that album we tracked completely live in like a 2-day session. We did like 7 songs one day. We always track as a band. We don't, a lot of times it's very very infrequent that we track apart. We always get like in a semicircle, look at each other, have headphones, and we have like the amps like in an ISO booth, and the drums are right by us, and we play together and try to get the takes in like 1 to 3 tries, and that's usually what makes the record. And so Cycles of Existential Rhyme was like that. Then we did some overdubs on the vocals, always were overdubbed later, and then Eduardo mixed the record. And then Freedom is Free we did with Leon Michaels, who's also known as El Michaels Affair, which his music is amazing. If you don't know it, please check it out. It's incredible. He was introduced to us by a friend of ours named Omar Suarez. He goes by the artist name El Ohms, and he does like the artwork for like Dan Auerbach's project, The Arts, and also he does a lot of Big Crown Records, El Michaels Affair artwork. He introduced us to Leon, and we flew to New York and made the record at his studio. It's called The Diamond Mine, and it's co-owned by Tommy Brennick, who is part of the Dap Kings, and Homer Steinweiss, who's played on like St. Vincent Records and Sharon Jones Records. This amazing crew of musicians, they just pooled their resources and made like an amazing studio that's like all analog for the most part, tape machines, vintage drums from like the 50s, and like guitar amps from the 60s. Just these great sounds that we were always trying to get on our records. And so we cut that record there in like 12 days, I think, vocals and everything. And that was one of the most funnest times of my life, you know. It was very cold. It was in January, and there was like a polar vortex that season. And I just remember we would walk from our Airbnb to the subway, and it'd just be so cold. But it was a lot of fun at that studio. And Invisible People, we decided to work with Leon again. And this time we wanted him to come to LA, because it was a little hard for the 4 of us to get out of LA and go to New York at the time. So he flew to LA with his engineer Jens Junkerth, and we made the record at Barefoot Recording, which is in Hollywood, and it used to be owned by what's his name? Eric Valentine, who did like Queens of the Stone Age, Songs for the Deaf, Foo Fighters, The Color and the Shape, I think it's called. These huge rock records that were just like multi-Grammy award-winning records. And anyways, he owns that studio, and he started opening it up. It was like a private studio, and he opened it up. And so they were renting out the rooms, and we rented out Studio B for like the songs that required like a dry drum sound. It was a small room with like a lot of isolation. And then we recorded in Studio A, which was the big room, which was like more live, the more like reflections. And so, we were there for 2 weeks, I think. And Leon came down, and we just worked hard on those songs. And then Bardo flew to Leon's home studio in upstate New York and did the vocals there. So it was, did I lose you? Sorry.
No. I'm here. I think it just froze out for a second.
Somebody called me. I had my phone on airplane mode, and I was like, oh no.
And it got through.
So we did that record. Bardo flew to Diamond Mine, and it's called Diamond Mine North. It's Leon's home studio. He has an amazing studio off his house. And he did the vocals there for like 10 days, I think. And then we gave the record to Sean Everett, who's produced and recorded Alabama Shake, Sound and Color, War on Drugs, The Voids, The Killers, all these huge bands. He was able to mix our record, which was like a huge like deal for us to be able to get this guy, because he's just like so in demand. And he mixed our record and helped give it the sound that we were trying to get on it. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. So what album did you come in on to play? What was the first album that you played on?
I played on Joven Navegante.
Okay.
So I played on every single release except the first record.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
When it got professional, that's when like, okay, I'll come in. I'm not going to anybody's bedroom.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we were still recording in Joven Navegante. We recorded. Well, I guess we graduated. We were in a living room for that.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah. Stepping up, you know.
Stepped it up. Yeah.
You got to walk before you walk faster, or
Exactly.
however that goes. That's awesome, man. Yeah. Where did the idea come from of releasing because there's an instrumental version of Invisible People. Yes.
Yes, yes, there is. We're just fans of like records that are, you buy like an old school record and there'll be like on a funk track or like a soul track, and sometimes on like the side B of the 45 there'll be like the instrumental. And so the whole idea is like for people that DJ, you can have like an instrumental record on one turntable and then like the vocal record, you can do like a little back and forth and do these little cool magic tricks. Also just for like sampling, it's like, it's great. We hope someday somebody like in the hip hop realm that we respect will like sample a Chicano Batman record, and we feel like that'll make it that much easier. Like, here you go, here's just the breaks and the fat bass and drums and guitars and organs and synthesizers, go crazy. So that was the idea, just playing homage to that art form, which we're big fans of, hip hop and soul and instrumental music also. So it was just something we thought would be cool. And it's amazing. Like when I heard the record, I was really surprised. I mean, there was stuff on it I didn't even know was there because when you listen to music, it's a mix, right? And you have all these elements there. And if you have more of something, it always means you have less of something else. It's always like this balance and tug and pull. It's never like, oh, I have enough of this, I have enough of this, I want 500% of these 5 things. It's no, you got to like split them up within the medium. And so without having the vocals on there, there was just all these amazing little like synth lines that Bardo was doing that were emulating his voice, that create like this texture. And there was just a bunch of cool stuff that I didn't even hear before the first time. And it was fun hearing it.
Yeah, that's really awesome, man. That's really cool that you're implementing that. Do you remember the first show that you played with Chicano Batman?
Yeah, I played the street festival in Little Tokyo, or in the Arts District. I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, it was fun. It was just it was cool because I had been playing in bands like all my teens and early 20s, and we would play to like 8 people, and 7 of them would be our girlfriends. And so or girlfriends and like cousin or something, or sister. So it was really cool to play with them because they kind of had like a little bit of a following. It was very modest at that time. It wasn't what it is now, but 30 people is better than like 7 people.
Definitely. Yeah. In
it was
any
called
regard.
Bloom. It was called Bloom Fest, like flowers bloom.
Do you remember the first show that you played in a band, not Chicano Batman, the first show you ever played?
I mean, I played like backyard parties. Those were fun. But I think like the first venue I ever played was Showcase Theater in Corona. That was like the closest venue like any band could play at that time where I lived. And I remember playing there and just like having my band mic'd for the first time through a PA was just like this humongous feeling that it was just a high that I've never been able to like get over.
That's awesome, man. That is really cool. What is there a show that just went crazy or just absolutely awful that really stands out to you?
I'm trying to think. Let me see. I think. I'm trying to. I don't think so, because Chicano Batman shows, we're really fortunate. We have like professional, really good crew that just make sure like everything's going right and nothing's going wrong.
Unless you're doing your own sound.
I do have one. We played in Mexico City. It was like our first headlining show, and it was sold out. It was like 1,500 people. It was a big deal. It was at this venue called Lunario in Mexico City. And we brought like our keyboard. We had like a touring keyboard, which was like taking the space of our YC30, which was our big, huge Yamaha vintage organ that Bardo would play, but we couldn't bring it because obviously we're flying in. So we had to borrow, I think we brought like a Nord or something that would just emulate that sound. Anyways, we show up to the venue, and one of the guys that's providing backline for providing the amplifiers and the gear that we couldn't fly in with for the show starts talking to us and tells us, oh, I have like a garage full of vintage keyboards. I have like 5 YC30s. I can bring one for the gig and you can play it and it'll be like playing your gig in, you know, LA or wherever. He brought the YC30, and what he didn't tell us was it hadn't been serviced like since like the 70s. And so it's going well at sound check. Everything sounds great. We go to play the show, and whatever the vibrations cause like some kind of solder to like go, you know, fuck up. And so we start playing the second song. Things are going great. The crowd is roaring. We're killing it. And then like the organ just cuts out. And then it's just like, you know, like that's that horrible sound of crackling. And it would cut in and out, and we're just trying to be professional and play through it. And it was hard, man. It was like, you know, your heart sinks because you're just like, oh, we came here all the way down here to play this. The people are here, they're hungry for this, and we're fucking it up right now because we should have used the keyboard we brought that we knew was gonna work. But we wanted, you know, we wanted this keyboard that we use normally at home. And our tour manager had to actually come and hold the cable. The cable is inserted on the bottom of the organ. He was like standing like in, you know, in the pit in front where the security is with like his hand for like an hour and a half, just holding and that shit would cut out every now and then still. But we got through it, man. And I think probably like 10% of the audience noticed what was going on, but it was tough. That was a hard show. I remember just feeling really bad afterwards.
Yeah, I bet, man. But I mean, props to that guy, dude, just holding it up there.
Yeah,
like a champ. Yeah.
definitely.
Are there any stories from going on tour that really stand out to you, not in a musical sense, just what you're doing outside of playing?
Let me think. Yeah, I met my wife on tour. It was early days, like one of Chicano Batman's first ever like East Coast shows. A friend of ours, a mutual friend of ours, put on the event at at a bar in Washington D.C. and she was friends with who became my wife. They were friends, and she invited her to the show. And you know, I talked to her after the show, and we just had like this amazing connection. And we've been together, and you know, 7 years now, and we're married now. And so yeah, I would say that's probably like the high point of playing music. I was never the type of person that would go to shows and like talk to, you know, women or anything like that. We're not that type of band. But it was just like a mutual connection that we made through like a friend, you know, so it was cool. Like there was like that, we had that connection, and it was amazing. Yeah. So I met my wife because of the band.
I meant an interesting story. I'm just kidding, man.
That's too heartwarming.
No, man, no, I'm talking about like, I got too drunk over here. No, I'm just kidding. That's awesome, man. That's crazy. So, I mean, definitely some long distance for a bit. Yeah.
It was long distance for like 3-4 months, and then we were nuts, and she made the move out to LA, and we've been, you know, together ever since.
Drinking Johnnie Walker together ever since, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
That's crazy, man. Yeah, that's really nuts. When did you guys go on your first international tour?
So our first tour ever was international. We played Japan in 2013. Like in November, we did like a week in Japan, and it was incredible. The fans there were just great. We had a promoter who imports like American music and a lot of like Latino soul, Latin soul music, and like soul funk, black soul. He's always like has his ear out for up and coming acts that are doing that kind of genre. And at the time in 2013, he was a fan of Chicano Batman, and he was like, if you guys can make your second record in time, you know, by the summer of 2013, I can put a tour together, and you can tour behind the record. And so we jumped on it and put out Cycles of Existential Rhyme. We made the record. It was actually released in Japan before it was released in the US. So it was only for the Japanese market that it originally came out. And we did that, and that led to a tour, and the tour was incredible. We played the whole island, basically, like all the big cities. I think Japan is like comparable to the size of like California. So it was like Tokyo would be like where San Francisco, Oakland is, and then you work your way down to like Osaka and Kyoto and Hiroshima. Like it's just like we were just going south and it was getting warmer, and just the culture was so different in every city, and it was just like it was amazing. And we had like our tour guide Shin Miyata, who was the tour manager in Japan, and he was just like hooking it up, like showing us places, teaching us things, and it was amazing.
Yeah, I bet, man. That sounds awesome, dude.
You know, because you have like a guide that's telling you this is the spot to go to. Like, don't go to the tourist spot. We're going to the real spot, and we're having like sake. We're having like amazing Japanese beer. We're having amazing Japanese food, and like the cuisine is so different in every city. Like, and we were trying it all, and it was just amazing.
That's the thing you really want. Yeah.
It's what was that? I'm sorry.
No. I was just saying, like, that's what you really want. Like when you go somewhere new, it's like, I don't want the tourist stuff. Like, where do you hang out? Where do you go? You know, like that's what you really want to go.
Exactly. And it was incredible. And the fans just like loved our music. And we were playing venues that were like comparable to like the Echo, like 250 capacity, you know. But they were all jam-packed, and it was just fun. It was so much fun. And then we came back and we had a show at the Smell, and I think we played to like 50 people. It was like really disappointing. This before we had our big break, and like, you know, we would always have like sold out shows like in California. This is when we were like still like playing to like trying to get fans, you know?
Yeah, man, that's crazy. I mean, I can only imagine how you look at it now. It's like, this is fucking nuts where we are now, as opposed to like, I gotta go substitute teach, you know, tomorrow.
Exactly. Yeah. Very blessed. You know, hard work, you know, you work hard, you sacrifice, and it really does pay off. You know, if you're really persistent and adamant about it, like you can move mountains sometimes. You'd be surprised. Just got to put your mind to it, as they say.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. So I wrap this up with some promotional stuff. You can find Chicano Batman's music anywhere that you stream your music, right? It's all over everywhere. Apple, YouTube, Spotify, the whole nine, right?
You can stream it. Probably best to buy it. I'd say buy it.
That's right.
Get your vinyl. Get like your physical copy. You get your lyrics in there. You get your artwork. You get a gatefold. You know, we went through a lot of like time and effort to present like this beautiful packaging and photography by the Korean artist Rala Choi. He did those are actually photographs in the album cover of Invisible People. And yeah, you want to hold these records and see them, you know. And it also just it goes direct to the artist when you purchase, you know, instead of Spotify taking a huge cut, you know, instead of getting us like 0.001 cent per stream, buy a record, you know, it goes further and it lasts, you know, forever.
Yeah, and you can buy those records at ChicanoBatman.com, right?
For sure.
And there's really cool shirts up there, and a whole lot of good stuff, and you could check that out. And Invisible People is obviously on there, and all the prior releases as well, right?
Yeah, and you could stream. You know, I'm not hating on streaming, but you know, this pandemic is really.
Yeah, we're sponsored by Spotify, so we gotta take that shit out.
Yeah. This pandemic has really put so many things in perspective in terms of like being an artist, and you're just like, all right, touring is taken away from you. Try to make income off only streaming. It's almost impossible unless you're like The Weeknd.
Yeah. And you can buy these albums whenever you want to, weekdays or weekends.
Exactly.
No, Carlos, it was an absolute pleasure, sir. Thank you so much for being on, and I really appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Thank you, Jacob. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate it. All right. I'll talk to you in a second.
Okay.